There's always time for some Bowie, whether it's Space Oddity or anything else. Having a little throat lozenge. All right. Let's get this on the road. Let's do a simulated run of our Eve crash probe, which hopefully won't actually crash. So we will simulate you at the launch pad. This is only a simulation. And we just got a donation in from Battle Hunter. Another bonus to landing in Eve's ocean is called the Explodium C. Nice! Which covers you should it explode upon entering Eve's atmosphere. Just call it the Explodium probe. Oh, that would be really good, actually. We will see what we can do. All right, so we're just doing a quick little test launch to make sure that everything is good. Now, one of the things is it's going to take a while to get to Eve. It would not surprise me. Oh, I only have one resupply mission noted in here. I got to make sure to double check that. It would not surprise me if we actually have to run a resupply mission before we finish the whole Eve thing. So we're going to take a look at that soon. So which one was it? Base 1 ship. Except we renamed that. That was probably the Minimus one, which was first. And yeah, so 300 days Minimus before it runs out of food. So we will have to take a look at that. Anyway, that's it's fully automatic probe. So we may as well use MechJeb for this. Oh, right, I muted the sounds of the game. There we go. Alright. Seems okay. Gonna start its gravity turn. I didn't put any parachutes on this. Simulation is good. Let's make sure to put some chutes on these bad boys. Try to recover them. Yeah, each one of those stages is pretty short. But just a little bit more Delta V. Might even damage things. But this is only a simulation. There's the gravity turn at 100 kilometers. Same as I always do. Yeah, we'll definitely need some parachutes on there. Probably damaging the launch pad. It's only a simulation! Alright. I guess I could... I mean, I always like to manually deploy this once we get about 30k. Because at that point you don't have the atmosphere, so you may as well dump the weight off. But if we were worried about it, we could also move it to the stage where this separates, because then we know for sure it'll happen. There's tons of Delta V left in this stage. We'll probably be able to enter orbit with this. And I guess the thing will be, at that point, is verify that we actually have enough Delta V in here to escape Kerbal and plan a sort of maneuver for general Eve encounter. We don't need this stuff to break when we get to Eve, because we're going to try to break entirely via the atmosphere. So keeping in mind that Eve atmospheric chart, which doesn't go very far. But even when you are... So to compare, on Kerbal, if you're at 10,000 meters, you have an atmospheric pressure of about 0.2. But on Eve, you have an atmospheric pressure of about 1.2. So even at 10,000 feet, you're thicker air than you have on the ground on Kerbal. I wish the chart went on further. But I'm thinking when we do our Eve plot, we'll aim for like something like 50k. Actually, maybe even like 60 or 70k, which is still going to be 20 or 30k into the atmosphere, which is apparently pretty thick. So that might be enough to aerobrake us at that point. And what we want to do is we're going to want to aim for an atmosphere that's as high as possible while still successfully stopping us. So we don't just do like a cut into the atmosphere and then fly by, which would be bad, because on the return, we'd probably come in at a very bad angle. Getting some heat going on over here. Well, those are heat bars, not damage. It'll probably go away. Here's our thrust to weight is a little high here. But that's okay. Oh, and actually, I think now is a great time to deploy the shell, actually. because it is thin. We are seeing these heat effects, but really there's not that much atmospheric pressure going on. Can circularize fine. We've got 11 minutes left to our simulation. I'm going to take this right into space. I may not worry about the circularization step. Well, no. I'll let it circularize and then plan the escape maneuver. I don't know why I'm planning. Plan the escape maneuver and see if we'd actually have enough delta V left in the tank to escape. I think that's good. Harmonium, thank you very much for the donation. Home from a stressful day at work. What could be better than a cold gin and tonic and Quill playing KSP? I haven't had gin and tonic forever, and it's the perfect summer drink. And here we are on the last days of August, and I have not had a gin and tonic. Well, well, well. Alright, so it's going to drift to the edge of the atmosphere. Then it'll auto time warp. If I do that. It'll also deploy my solar panels. We've got lots of electric charge. Because we do have two 1K batteries, which is a hell of a lot of battery power. There we go. Solar panels are out. Yes, I will update the TF2 server right now. We are playing some Team Fortress 2. Server needs an update, so while we're letting that process, let me go and take care of this. Boom. Really? Science? And we did bring some experiments, but anyway, this is just a simulation, so none of the science would stay anyway. Okay. 5-second burn. Wow. I guess our thrust weight is pretty good here. And we're circularized. So, now let's figure out our maneuver here. Yes, finish. It's good enough, MechJeb. Thank you. Okay. So Eve is in a lower orbit than Kerbal, which means what we're really trying to do effectively is burn retrograde relative to Kerbal, the sun, right? Same thing as leaving the moon. So that's Eve there. Now, so what we want to do is when we're on the inner part of the orbit here, we want to burn prograde to escape, but at the same time, we're effectively burning retrograde relative to Kerbal. There we go. So, we have a little over 2,000 delta V, about 2,100 delta V left in the tank. With a 1K burn, we actually leave Kerbal and encounter Eve orbit somewhere. Right? I mean, we'll tweak it, we do various things. Hell, there would have been an encounter somewhere there, assuming we're on the correct inclination and stuff. Okay, so the delta V situation is fine. We've got enough delta V to leave Kerbal, encounter Eve, and still have lots of maneuvering fuel left to tweak our stuff. And again, we don't need it to actually land. We're just going to try to use the air. So I'm going to call that situation, or that simulation, ended. So we'll revert to the vehicle assembly. Again, we only have 6 minutes left. That was not real. We couldn't have continued this flight even if we wanted to. Also, we still are not actually in the sweet spot for the launch to Eve yet. Well, we can launch in an orbit and just leave ourselves there, but the actual window to transfer to Eve to be optimal isn't quite there, although it's pretty damn close. Parachutes. We wanted parachutes. You know what? For aerodynamic purposes, we can just get the parachutes that go on the nose cones. Oh. This one. Yeah. Right, because that's the smaller size that goes in the end. So we can use these. These are actual parachutes, not the drogues. This is a drogue one, even though it doesn't say it in the name, which is really annoying. That's the proper parachute. Put it all there and have them... We're going to have them deploy or activate as soon as we separate, but they're only going to deploy when they're about here, which means they won't deploy instantly upon releasing from the ship, and they won't get burned up by our boosters. So... what? You go here. Hey! Japanese men licking ears, thanks for subbing. And you go there. So, there. So they should be recoverable. I mean, they're not too expensive, so it may have not been a concern, but what the hell? It does suck if you spend the money on a parachute and then you can't recover the bit, and you're like, oh, that was a waste. I think we're good. If escape vector is more important, you can save hundreds of Delta V by burning properly, yeah. And we can use, like, we have unlocked enough MechJeb stuff to do like the advanced transfer window with the pork chop transfer selection, which is very cool. But you can calculate. There's lots of websites and things like that. Because I mean, no one ever like eyeballs these things in NASA, right? It's all calculated by computer for you. All right, let's go ahead and construct this thing. We haven't even spent our science. We didn't need any of the science for this particular mission, and I like this mission. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, that's empty. My other bottle. All right. So, we're constructifying that. We've got the upgrade on the tracking stations. Still at negative points because of that glitch. So we build a crash probe. Gurgle, gurgle. So I think the next science I will do will be to unlock more of the self-sustaining stuff. Because ideally, it would be really nice if our resupply mission to our Minmus and Moon base actually send them enough stuff so that they can just grow their own food and oxygen and water in the future. Roll out. See, our EVE transfer window is still 30 days away. But we can at least launch the ship and put it into orbit and then figure out what we want to do, which might involve just fast forwarding 30 days. We'll play it by ear. Launch the probe. Bum, 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 bum. Interesting. Always interesting when it like starts the scene while doing sound effects. All right. Engage autopilot. This orbit is fine. And go. Ooh. I didn't realize there's a bit of wobble there. We probably would have wanted some struts here because we're losing a tiny bit of our delta V to the fact that these things aren't pointing straight up. They're slightly pointing in because of the thrust pushing. But it's hardly a thing. Hardly a thing. Okay. Again, it's mostly hands off. We can pay attention to chat. It's great. You will still need to resupply if the supplies last longer. Yeah, okay. I guess maybe we don't have full self-sustainment. That's alright. Now, some of these are old messages. Let's get rid of those. It'll be interesting to see if these things are successfully recovered. They should be. Okay, there's 100 meters a second, so it should start its rollover into gravity turn. Good. Tell you what, I'll do the thing again where I rotate so that when these things detach, gravity is not going to smash them into the thing. There we go. Ooh, the chute's deploying right away. But no bad messages, so I guess we're alright. Chutes haven't been destroyed by aerodynamic forces or by the heat of the boosters. Right, they're deploying. We're not going at 250 meters a second yet, so the chutes are totally safe. As long as they don't get burned by the engine, which they didn't. Okay. Thrust weight is going up. I'll probably start to derate the engine, actually. Unlike last time, just to prevent some of the aerodynamic forces being a problem. I mean, I could limit the terminal velocity and prevent overheats. Then MechJeb should automatically turn down some of the gauges here as we start to get some of that. Bum, 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 bum. Reset before it's too late. What? What's wrong? Ah, we're fine. I'm sure everything is fine. Okay. Flight here. So far, so goodish. Ah, stage recovered. 98%, 98%, 98%, 98% of the money back on those stages. Very good. They didn't go far, they didn't go too fast. Time to apoapsis is increasing, which is good, but increasing slowly, so we're in a nice flat sort of trajectory. I don't know if these work the same way with the current atmospheric models. I mean, we're not overheating. We're just seeing heat effects right now. So that's okay. And, you know, we're constantly pitched up from our actual prograde marker. Which means we're fighting it a little bit. So I don't know if this is perfectly efficient. We might have wanted to take a slightly different... Yeah, see, we're below our projected path here. We'll still get in there. Time to apoapsis is increasing, which is good. But it's not entirely the path we would have maybe preferred to take. I'll wait until we get to 40k and then I'll deploy the fairing. Because at that point we really don't have any air whatsoever. These heat effects are basically non-existent. And there we go, we're coming in on our 100,000. Which is why we killed the engine there, and we will just coast. So, a pretty flat path, which is pretty optimal, but also spending a lot of time in the atmosphere. Still, it's basically the same thing that happened last time, so I think we're going to be okay. Dun 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 dun. Dun, dun. Stop. And join there, and run the update for TF2. Get that running in the background. Boom, 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 boom. Coasting to 70k, and then it'll time warp us. So, because we have so much fuel efficiency, or so much extra fuel, really could just go and wait like 30 days. And then I can basically eyeball an encounter with Eve. It's gonna be easy. Again, just like we did before, we're gonna burn sort of on the inside here. So we're burning retrograde to Kerbal, which will drop our orbit relative to the Kerbal, the sun, and we'll encounter Eve at some point. But I think for just speeding things along so I don't have to fiddle with all the maneuvers for the next 5 minutes to get something close, we'll just go ahead and use the automatic thingy. Alright, that's pretty circular there, MechJeb. Thank you very much for your help. Solar panels are deployed. If I set a target of Kerbin and activate, I mean, right now it's sort of irrelevant, but let's not forget. How's the power drain on that? 1 per second, but we've got 2,000 units of power in here, so that's fine. And that's while we're in the shade, so we're pretty comfortable with that. So, with MechJeb, you've got a maneuver planner over here, which is very fun. And one of the things you can do is advance transfer to another planet. So, we zoom out. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We click on Eve and set it as a target. And then we got a pork chop selection. Lowest delta V, that would be in 1 year, 300 days. No, that's no good. So we'll just say ASAP. Why is it? It's not working? The ASAP is not working. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to wait 20 days anyway. But when we can probably use that. Or if this, for some reason, is not working, we will simply do it ourselves. Again, I'm perfectly fine eyeballing it. I don't think we're going to have a problem. Tracking station is going to complete in 6 days. So let's go ahead and fast forward to that. Is there science? Oh yeah, but I may not want to do it here. Multispectral analysis. Can this be reused properly? And it went away. Is it still deploying? Oh, we're probably doing those weird tundra pixels, which can happen, because I think I've already done all these scans. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to go back down to the planet, and because then we can time warp much faster. And we're going to wait, like, 25 days. We'll be in a pretty sweet spot. To either eyeball it, or we'll use a program. Yeah, and the eyeballing should be pretty easy, especially with the transfer window worked out for us. So let me go ahead and start unlocking the short-term habitation stuff. There we go. And then we have enough science for some high-powered electronics, which has more science. More dishes as well. Oh, and the giant solar array. Cool. Let's unlock those things. All right, time warp. Time warp some more and more. It's going to stop us here, but actually I don't care about that stop. So just keep going. Just going to try to come in to that transfer window. Woo! And a little more. Okay. Yeah, we can do a little bit closer. Alright, good enough. Technically in 2 days would be the optimal transfer window, but it's alright. Let me do a, before, because I'm switching back and forth between ships a lot, and I'm worried about crashing. Do some of those. Alright, crash probe. We're gonna fly you. Bum, bum, bum. Who was phone? No one I know. Which means I don't pick up. Bum 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 bum. All right. Do we still have a target selected? And yes, you can pick a spot in the pork chop diagram, but you shouldn't have to. Let's try this again. Maneuver planner, advanced transfer, computing. Huh. This used to be like, there was nothing. It would work. ASAP would pick something relatively reasonable here. I don't know. All right, F that. Okay. Let's plan our own maneuver. So, again, it's going to be somewhere on the inside over here. Maybe a little bit before the parry. I mean, maybe, like... maybe a little later would actually be better, but... Could you not click on the wrong thing there? Hello. There it is. Jeez. And then it... stay where I want you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and burn just enough to escape Kerbal first. And then we'll be able to make a proper sort of... well, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's see here. Maneuver editor. Yeah, we're not leaving at the right angle exactly. Move around there. Oh, there's a nice little encounter. Boom. An actual encounter there with 1255 Delta V, which is a little over half of what we've got, but we will have an even counter right around there. So, and all the way around this way, which makes sense. We're going to slowly descend from our orbit to there and encounter it somewhere along the way in 240 days. Good enough. That put in the maneuver. Good. You over there, flight computer, you're going to face the node. Execute it when it's time, which is in 9 minutes. If you want to fast forward in KSC, it's advised you do it in tracking station, otherwise orbits will get changed in different strongness. Ah. I mean, I've certainly seen, like, orbits change more than they should when super fast forwarding, which I know will always happen because of rounding errors, but if it minimizes it in the KSC, that is really good information to know. Now, one of the problems with this maneuver planner is its time is actually a little inaccurate because our thrust weight isn't the same between the two stages. So what I'm going to do is intentionally derate this stage to be about the same strength as the other one. There we go. Replan the maneuver start time. We're facing the right way. Go ahead and time warp.